Nigeria reports a 6.8% growth in the value of total trade done in the third quarter of 2019. South African portfolio inflows jump on record Eurobond sale. And Angolan parliament approves 2020 budget with estimated oil price. Hello and welcome, and thank you for joining us on Business Incorporated. I'm Chimezie Obi Iwagu. Well, we'll start with the trade report out from Nigeria as the country records a 6.8% growth in the value of total trade done in the third quarter of 2019, with exports posting higher value and imports value printing lower figures. The Statistics Office today reported total imports in the months of July to September was down 2.70% on a quarterly basis, led by big declines of 243.93% recorded in energy goods, 12.46% fall in imported manufactured goods, and 4.64% decrease in raw materials imports. Meantime, the value of total exports in the third quarter increased by 15.02% as the value of manufactured goods jumped 839.44%. The MBS report also reveals that the value of agricultural exports decreased by 42.69%. Exports of energy goods also declined 40.06%, and the value of crude oil exports down 4.79%. And to the markets now, the Nigerian All Share Index continued its positive trend at intraday, up 0.15%. The South African JSE index moved impressively up by almost 2%. Following the report, its portfolio investment inflows rose to the highest level in more than a year in the third quarter after the country's biggest Eurobond sale yet. Egypt is closed but ended Thursday's session down 0.51%. Kenya was up on Thursday, 0.28%. And the markets in the Middle East are closed for the week on Thursday, but most of them ended lower, with Saudi leading the declines. Meanwhile, state-owned Aramco climbed further to be up 4.6%, adding to a 10% rise on its first day of trade. The Qatari index declined 0.8% as Industries Qatar was the biggest drag, falling 2.5%, while Qatar Navigation closed 2.7% down. The Abu Dhabi index edged down 0.07% as the country's largest lender, First Abu Dhabi Bank, dropped 0.4%, and telecoms firm Etisalat slipped 0.2%. Dubai's index bucked the trend to gain 0.33%, led by a 13.1% surge in Mashreq Bank and a 0.8% rise in Emirates MBD. And in the UK, Prime Minister Boris Johnson's Conservative Party has won a commanding majority in the country's general election, granting Johnson the power to drive through his Brexit deal and take the UK out of the EU before the January 31 deadline. The result is the party's biggest election win since 1987. Let's see how that is playing out there. Let's check in with Juliana. Hello, Juliana. Good afternoon. Well, British business leaders have been reacting to the Conservative Party election victory and advising Prime Minister Johnson on how to handle Brexit deals in Brussels. What are the details of what's been said?
Good afternoon, Chimmy. Well, there's lots that have been said from lots of different individuals. I think reacts is certainly still gathering. This thumping Tory victory is exactly what businesses wanted. It's what the city had hoped for, but nobody expected it would be a landslide victory. Of course, there have been several congratulatory messages throughout the day from several business leaders. Caroline Fairbairn, she's the CBI leader, the Confederation of British Industry. They're estimated to represent about 190,000 businesses across the UK. And while she sent her congratulations, she also urged the Prime Minister to once and for all take Britain out of this state of paralysis that it's been in for the past 3.5 years. And they expect Boris Johnson to do so. Also as well, there is the Betta Munyona. She's the COO of Simple Business. Now, Simple Business look after SMEs, and SMEs, small to medium-sized enterprises in the UK, make up about 90% of British businesses. They bring in about £2 trillion annually, and they said that they really hope now that, Britain and Boris Johnson's 5-year government will really be able to focus on small businesses, bringing in the investment, and they also reached out their congratulations. There have been several other people across the business world that have breathed a sigh of relief, and they finally feel as if Britain is once again open for business.
All right, checking with the markets for us. Right now, it looks like the pound sterling has lost some of its earlier gains, though still looking up.
Well, yes, the pound, of course, last night, as soon as those exit polls were released at 10 p.m. GMT local, the pound surged on a 3.5-year high on the euro. It was over an 18-month high on the dollar. Of course, nobody expected that to last, but the surge was fantastic. Also, the FTSE 100, the FTSE 250 have had record-breaking days, quite surprisingly, because, of course, we know the FTSE 100 is really made up of a lot of firms that have foreign investments, so the dollar, the euro and the yen are all plunged in the FTSE 100, but it's still doing very well. The FTSE All-Share at intraday is up 2.02%. The FTSE 100 is up 1.90%, and the FTSE 250 is up by a massive 4.34%. FTSE 250 looks at obviously the domestic economy, so house builders have really been surging. The British pound still up on the US dollar by 1.66%, up on the euro by 0.48%, and up on the Japanese yen by 0.32%.
And are there any corporate news in the headlines at all sides, this conservative elections victory?
Well, of course, all eyes and ears are focused on the result. Lloyds Banking Group, Barclays Banking Group, their shares have surged between 5 and 8% this morning. Also, though, I must say in corporate news, I think now a lot of the attention will be focused on Monday's Bank of England committee policy gathering. This will be the last one of the year. We're just wondering just how economists in the city will trail from Friday evening up until Monday morning, because of course, even though we are seeing great results in the city today, throughout the year, the UK's economy has been almost abysmal. Interest rates cuts potentially could be likely. We're not expecting it to happen on Monday, but at the last policy meeting, 2 policy members did vote to cut interest rates, and they usually have a unanimous voting record. So it'd be interesting to see what they say and just how economists will gather this information over the next couple of days.
Okay, I guess it's time for you to take a breather, and let's watch and see what happens as we enter next week. Thank you, Juliana. Enjoy the rest of the weekend.
Thank you, Jimmy.